T. Gray and MK, you are now cleared for flight school takeoff.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Super Saturday is here. Flight school and Mr. Holton Bugs fast track to 5K. He is going to bring the heat. Stay connected with the WhatsApp community, ibooMnation.com. Go there, fill out the information. Telegram, search at Ibüümerang and click join. For your mate leaders' birthdays, we are fundraising for the BÜM Foundation, and you can go to the BÜMFoundation.com or your back office, and we prefer your back office. Every little bit helps the children. However, there are no birthdays this month. Chargebacks, if you charge back, you will be terminated. However, you can go to iboomhub.com/downloads and download the multiple use credit card form. Don't give your funds to anyone for trading. Ibüümerang will not be held responsible for your loss of funds. Don't do it, folks. Not allowed cross recruiting and switching teams. It's grounds for termination for both the switcher and the sponsor. This is your brick. You are a personal star achiever, 300 QV, dual team qualified, one left, one right, 10 elevate customers, 1500 QV. That all adds up to a grand total of 1800 in personal qualifying volume. You want every person on your team to accomplish and maintain this. CEO Circle, 10 elevate customers. You can go to all events for free, but you've got to be qualified for 3 months in advance. CEO Corner, 25 elevate customers. You can go to all virtual and live events, including elevate boot camps, for free, but you got to be qualified for 3 months in advance. Rank Up. Everybody should be using Rank Up. Training call and recordings are now on iboomhub.com. And the YouTube playlist is live. It's right at the top, folks. youtube.com/iboomerang. Ibüümerang Rank Up presentations by your top leaders. Log into Rank Up, click prospecting videos, grab the link and send it, and you've got to match up the prospect with the presenter. Profit Snatcher testimonials now in Rank Up. Log into Rank Up, click prospecting videos, click Profit Snatcher testimonials, grab the link and send it. And again, you've got to match up the prospect with the presenter. Trade Buddy Lounge, live trading with the best profit coaches, and a Trade Buddy subscription is required. Send us your Profit Snatcher wins and Trade Buddy video testimonials. Send your Elevate and Trade Buddy testimonials to written profitsnatchers@elevate.com. TradeBuddyTestimonials.com for the videos. Elevate and Trade Buddy. Profit Snatcher schedule. Profit Snatchers America's every first and third Wednesday of the month, and that's 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is the only call today, folks. MK coming to you from the flight deck.
Solid work. Good job. Appreciate those announcements. And good to see you guys. I just put it in the chat, folks. The link to register for today's webinar. It's at 12 p.m. Central Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time today. And the topic is the fast track to 5K. Anybody interested in getting the 5K a month? I know you guys have been focused on a comma club. But there's a comma in there. There's a comma in 5K. There's a comma in that one.
Sir.
Good. All right, first up, confession time. I appreciate all the presentations that you guys sent me this week, but I owe you guys some presentation feedback. It was a short week for me with travel and all the things I had to do, so I didn't get a chance to watch all of those presentations. So that's what we will dig into next Saturday. So I have a nice stack of them. Kia, I owe you some feedback. Deanna, you just sent me number 12. Angel has sent me number 531 presentation. Diana Hardy has sent me 6,292 versions of her presentation. Some of y'all are just going crazy. Just going bananas. Just talking to yourself in a camera. It is absolutely fantastic. So I will be giving you guys some feedback. So some of you guys who haven't sent me one, you got some time. Get one in there. Now, hopefully you guys aren't just recording presentations. You're actually using these putting them out there in the wild, letting them work for you. So let's have a chat. I've been watching you guys talk about your business activities. I've been watching you post, some of you posting your checklist, some of you still not. Now, if you haven't been posting your checklist, you gotta ask yourself why, right? You gotta ask yourself why. If you're not posting your checklist, why? Only you can answer that, right? But I'm sure the answer is no bueno. So, Alex, word up, bro. You put it in the chat because you ain't doing it, right? So let's. Stein, she goes, I look forward to hearing what you're going to say to a presentation in Danish. Maybe I should add subtitles. Two things. Two things. Number one, you send me a Danish, I'm going to eat it. And number two, you most definitely should add subtitles.
With some French croissant with that.
and a croissant.
Voilà. Avec
How
un
was
bon
that?
latte.
Did I say right? Croissant.
Oui, avec un bon latte. Un bon croissant et un latte.
What she said. That's right, Vonnie. Right? She said, Donnie said, love a good Danish. Us New Yorkers, we love some Danish. All right. Good job. So let's talk though. I want to do some open mic here real quick. We've got maybe about 30 minutes or so. I want to do some real world work. Okay. You're getting lots of training. You got Holton Bugs last week. You got Holton Bugs again this week. And then how many of you have a ticket to the 3-day summit, May 16, 17, and 18? Herb, you got your ticket? Cynthia, you've got yours. Angel's got hers. Who's got their ticket? Dorcas has got hers. Deanna, right? I'm going to tell you guys that is going to be a very, very powerful event. Shirley, you got yours. I see Mary, you got yours. Jackie Phillips, Becky, you got yours. Topsy, you go, girl. That's what I'm talking about. Stein's got hers. That's going to be a really, really strong event. Of course, May 17, Saturday, we will not do flight school and, we'll step aside for that event. But you guys have been getting some great training. Now my question is, who's been out there using it? Who's been out there, actually prospecting people, actually calling people, actually, you recorded your video and now you've got people watching it and you're following through. So Kia, great. You unmute yourself, Kia, and let's talk about what's been going on in your business. That look when you regret saying me in the chat. Yes, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's just all over you. Kia's like,
look.
I should have known.
In the chat.
I should have known.
Be honest and say me. So
yes. All right. So Kia, talk to me. How's it going? Tell us about your experience. Tell me the good, the bad, and the ugly, and let's see what we can work through.
So the good, I'll say some of the wins I've come across as I'm prospecting individuals is the confidence. That's what I see more and more nowadays with myself as far as how I engage in conversation. Before I was pretty comfortable and confident in connecting with folks, reaching out and prospecting them, at least piquing interest. But now I'm more comfortable with just having a basic conversation, just simply getting to know the individual, but also being able to get to the meat and potatoes of what their life looks like, what are their pain points, or better yet, what are their desires. And I use that as an opportunity to segue into just simply asking for their contact. Once I've done that, then I'll say, okay, let's follow up and then let's just have a conversation, talk a little bit more to get to know one another better. Like last week, I met a woman. So I do tutoring for students called Heart Math. And this lady came in, we started engaging in conversation and started asking what brought her to the community outreach and why she made a decision to be a part of it. Then after that, as we kind of started building, I asked her what she's currently doing. And she told me that she wasn't working, but her background's in education. And she asked me the same. So my focus, rather than typically saying that I work for a bank and my background is IT, I actually shared with her that I have a business. So that led to her wanting to know more about my business. And I was like, okay, well, let's just do this because we're tutoring students at the moment. So we can't really get into specifics. Let's just exchange contacts and just go from there. So just being able to just have organic conversations and just kind of moving through the process versus being eager to promote the business.
I love it. I love it. That's like a real Zen place in network marketing. You know, it's a place where the network marketing pros are very, very comfortable, right? Because you become very comfortable in your skin, and like you said, you're not just ready to pounce. You're able to just have a conversation, and you just kind of know where you're taking this, and you're going to lead it to later. All right, so tell me about that next interaction though when you call back.
We started talking a little bit, and she was like, woman to woman, we have to, be out there hustling, grinding, just becoming entrepreneurs. She asked me a little bit about, why did I decide business? And I kind of share with her that, I've been in corporate America and I've always thought that was the answer for me, but I've seen since some years past that that's not an answer to where I want to go or where I've envisioned my lifestyle. And then I kind of went into asking her because I wanted to kind of take control of the conversation back. So I started more or less asking her questions about, what made her step away from education and where has her business taken her and what are some of her goals for 2025?
Excellent, excellent. So based on what she said, tell me about the part of the conversation where you introduced your Ibüümerang business and Elevate.
So, I told her that I talked a little bit about just the community in general and just how it's been showing me how I can multiply my money, but also is put me in a position to do something that I thought that it would be decades, and that's retire early. I mean, retire later down the road, but now I'm in a position and have a path to where I can retire sooner than what I had envisioned for myself. And she was like, that's pretty interesting. So she definitely wants to know more, and we're looking to set something up this week.
Great. Tell me about what she said before you introduced Ibüümerang and Elevate. Tell me about some of the things that she said that maybe were she's telling you what she needed to know or hear and what's important to her.
Okay, so for her, she has a family, and as much as she loved education, it just didn't really pay her a lot of money. She kind of stepped away from that and wanted to focus on time with her family, her kids, and then kind of regroup to figure out what's next. With her building her business, she wanted to see how she can maximize on that to be able to supplement what she's no longer getting when she was teaching.
Gotcha. So how did you use that to transition?
Yeah, I told her that I more or less said to her that I can show her a way that she can still utilize some of her resources, such as individuals that she know in the education field, as well as just her being a part of Heart and Math, and she can monetize those opportunities with being able to make money no matter where she's at.
Okay. Did you have her watch your video?
Yeah.
Huh? Did you say yes or no?
No, I have not,
Okay, why not?
because we have something scheduled on Tuesday for her to watch my video.
Okay, so tell me about that. So she's going to watch it with you? Is that what's going to happen?
Mm. I'm going to send her a video.
Okay. She's already agreed to watch it on Tuesday?
Mhm.
Okay, tell me about that part. How did you get her to agree to that?
So, well, she's not working. So I asked her then, I said, so you mentioned to me you're not working, so you do have availability. I asked her when was her times when she typically tutor, because we're starting to round out our tutoring sessions. So she told me she had some time in the middle of the day. And rather than me having to try to figure out like what's a good window for me, I already have my video that I sent to you. And I pretty much edified myself. So she doesn't even know that she's going to watch a video of me.
Really?
I did. So what I ended up saying to her was like, so I went through the whole process. So I said, okay, here's what I want for you. After she kind of confirmed she was available on Tuesday, I said, okay, so what's a good time on Tuesday that works best for you? She told me around about 2 p.m. So I said, all right. I said, so you're available at 2 p.m. And she said, yes, that's correct. I said, so will there be any distractions? Are you doing anything specifically at 2 p.m.? And she said, I'm not doing anything at 2 p.m. I said, okay, so here's what I would like to do. I want to share a little bit more about my community and an opportunity that can change your life. You say that you're looking to supplement your income. You want to continue spending time with your family, but be in a position where you could build your business, but also leverage other resources that's going to help you make money. I'm going to send you a video. And I told us roughly about 30 to 35 minutes that's going to take up her time. And I said, what I need from you is to make sure that you're in a place where there's no distractions. You can take some notes, because right after that video, I want to give you a call so we can talk about what you saw.
This is good. This is good. Hey, everybody, let's give a round of applause to Kia. That was absolutely fantastic. And that's so good. I can't wait to see what happens when she watches your video. Sounds like I need to make sure she doesn't watch before I do. But what has anybody else had the opportunity to get their video out into the wild yet? Or is there, you guys are afraid now after what happened to Kia just now? Okay, so let's go over that, because that was, Mary, you're right. That was a phenomenal share. I love it. And that's what I'm looking for us to do this every Saturday. Now, when I listened to what you did, Kia, it was on point. I can feel your confidence. Sorry. I can feel you. I can feel your confidence coming through. And the only thing that I want to do is I want to tweak your posture just a little bit more. Okay, let's tweak your posture. When you think about what moves people, right? Because remember, Holton always used to tell me, if you want to be successful in this business, you have to become an expert in people, right? What moves people more than anything is that fear of loss, right? What they can't have, right? So what I want you to do is I want you to position this opportunity as something that she might not be able to have. Okay. So how do you do that? What does that sound like? It sounds like this. Kia, I'm gonna use you as an example, but in this example, you're that lady. Okay. And I say something like, so, well, that's cool. That's great. Yeah, I know so many people in the education community that are dealing with the same thing. They put their hopes in the education field. And now not only are they not making the money that they envisioned that they would make, they're not even making the money that they used to make. So I totally get it that you are looking to replace those things and maybe start a business. I'll tell you what, I've had the honor and the privilege of working with some truly iconic people who have accomplished some incredible things. As a matter of fact, my personal mentor is one of the foremost experts in this industry, and he actually even built his own income up to over $1 million a month. Could you imagine that? And he's got over 200 people that he's coached to well over 700,000 to over $1 million in earnings themselves. So that's been really exciting for me. Now, maybe it's something that you can participate in, but I'll tell you this right up front. I'm not 100% sure that you qualify for it. And I can't guarantee you that this is going to be for you, but there's really only one way to find out. If I were to make it possible for you to watch a 30-minute discussion of what this business is about. By the way, how many of you guys notice I did not use the word presentation? All right. 30-minute discussion of what this opportunity is about. Now here's where it goes. You guys ready? Here it comes. would you make it a priority to give it a professional look? I've landed on that set of words through a lot of trial and error with the, obviously my intention was to get my watch rate up, right? What I found, Donald, was I was sending videos to people and maybe 30% were watching it. Okay. So I said, how can I get that number up? And the way I would get it up was to create more value and more exclusivity, and even a little more pain in how I transmitted the video. Does this make sense, people? All right. So if I were to make it possible for you to watch this 30-minute discussion of what this opportunity is about, would you make it a priority to give it a professional look? Professional look, carefully chosen. You can see why in a second. So I said that to you, Kia, you're the lady, and you said, first of all, how did it make you feel when I said I'm not 100% sure that you qualify for this?
You feel that you're inadequate?
And that's not the intention, right? The intention isn't to make the person feel inadequate. But what I found for most people is that when you say, I'm not sure you qualify, with most people, it evokes some serious curiosity, right? For some people, it's a prick to the ego. What the hell do you mean I don't qualify? I'm probably the most qualified person you can talk to. Let me see what this is, right? And I don't care if that's why you watch it, because what's my end game? That you watch it, right? So if that's what got you to watch it, then great, fantastic, right? Others, like you said, may feel a little bit inadequate. Okay, well, oh my God, they may feel like this is something that's bigger than me, and maybe this is my chance to get in on something. You see what I'm getting at, right? But either way, that shapes it. What when you hear me say the word, in key, I'm still just you and me still. When you hear me say the word, make it a priority, what feelings does that evoke?
Shows me the importance of me needing to see this information.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Jackie Phillips, let me ask you a question. If you come off mute for a second. If I say to you, would you make it a priority? What does that make? What feelings does that spark in your mind?
That I need to set it in my schedule, set aside everything else, and make sure that I commit to watching it.
Right. And see, and we all know what it is. We've all seen the video, but when you hear those words, it just automatically puts you in that mind frame. Make it a priority, right? Okay. And then the next set of words, Kia, to give it a professional look. What does that do for you?
You're really pretty much edifying the video, because now you're saying that you see me in high regard to really give my perspective of something that is important to you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can see the work that I'm doing to make it important to you, the viewer, right? So if I were to make this available to you, would you make it a priority to give it a professional look? Kia, as the lady?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, great. Now, Kia, I just want to clarify what I mean by professional look. There's so much important detail in this, and this opportunity is of such a magnitude that it's important that you don't get distracted and miss the key points, right? As a matter of fact, as you're going, I want you to definitely write down any thoughts, comments, and questions that you might have as the video goes. But I'm going to encourage you to lock yourself in a room, kids, significant others, etc., pets, try to get them away from you for those 30 minutes. Instagram, don't scroll, because you will miss your money if you do that. Is that Make sense? Could you do that?
Percent.
Okay, great. Excellent. So, so cool. So when do you think, since you're going to make this a priority to watch this, when do you think you can carve out those 30 minutes to watch it?
Soon do you want me to watch this video? Because it appears, or it sounds that it's something that needs to be watched as soon as possible. I'm looking at my calendar right now. I have some availability in the next 2 hours.
Oh, good. Excellent. Excellent. That's what I call making it a priority. Okay, great. Around what time?
About 11:30
11:30.
Eastern Standard Time.
Do you guys notice how I did that? This is just kind of, it was just kind of smooth, right? Like, well, tell me exactly what time you're going to watch. No, well, around what time? Oh, and she gives me time, right? So it says 11:30. Okay, fantastic, excellent. So if you start watching it at 11:30, Kia, and it's about 30 minutes to consume. If I were to call you at about 12:15, 45 minutes later, you'd be done, right?
Absolutely.
Great, excellent. And that'll be a great time for us to go over those notes that you took during the presentation. All right, cool. Well, let's get you that link. Hold on a second. Let me send that to you right now. Boop, 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 boop. Sent.
Got it.
Okay, did you get it?
Did.
Excellent, fantastic. All right, great. Well, put me down for 12:15. 12:15, I'm going to give you a call, and that's when we'll compare notes. Sounds good?
Good.
Right. How many of you know that doesn't feel like a network marketing conversation? Right? I mean, I could use that same conversation, Dorcas, if I was sending you the prospectus to take a look at investing in an oil well. Right? Absolutely. So that's what Holton was talking about when he said learn to speak the language of business. Right? And to learn to use those words. And Kia, that's that posture that says, I have it, you don't, I'm going to let you look at it. Right? You're not saying those words, but that's the position that I take. I've got it. You don't have it. Well, we're going to let you look at it to see if you can join the club. Does that resonating with anybody? But it's done in a very smooth, conversational way. You can tell that I've practiced this. And so that when I'm in actual conversation with a person, it's not the first time that my every muscle involved from mouth, throat, etc., are forming those sounds, right? You know, I've practiced Topsy, I've practiced this in video and watched it back so that I can work on my facial expression, because I can get real serious, right? And so I make sure that my facial expression is serious but friendly, but not intense, right? Cynthia Oxidine, I've practiced this to make sure that the energy that I'm putting out is authoritative and not needy. This is making sense, everybody? Okay. And once you get that fine-tuned, the challenge is how many times a day can you do that? How many times a day can you do that? Just exactly. Practice makes prominence. And that's how you end up, because going to the higher ranks, because what happens is, Kia, the reason why you had success in that conversation is because you were prepared for it and she wasn't. Right? She was just talking. You were leading. Right? And anytime you come to something and you're prepared and the other person isn't, you're going to win. Jackie Pippins, Diamond, Blue Diamond. What kind of feedback do you have for that? What's your commentary and thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought it was good. I think that when we give a video to people, they tend to watch it but not watch it. They, especially if nobody is there. They get distracted, they answer the phone, they do things with the kids, they do a lot. So my suggestion on that is either be with her there while she's watching it, or as soon as she finished watching it, make sure she call her and get a feedback to make sure that she watches it. Because I know I've known people to watch the video and then they'll turn around and say, well, how much is it to get started? You know, that's all on the video. So that let me know that they did not watch that video. So, you know, so again, we almost have to be careful when we sending out a video because they'll say one thing but do another. So my suggestion is maybe she's there while she's watching it, or do a hard follow-up.
I love that, because that's 100%, right? That's 100% true. And the reason that I personally do it this way is because it extends my time, right? Literally when I'm launching at 12 o'clock on any given day, I might have 10 different people watching my video while I'm still making prospecting calls. But in order to counteract what Jackie accurately described, that's why you have to put in that work up front to create the value for that video, to create the importance to that video. You can't just give over that link. The easier you give over that link, the more likely you're going to have the experience that Jackie just described, that the person didn't watch it. The more value that you create for that upfront, the higher the likelihood that you're going to get somebody who's going to watch it with the right mindset and attention spirit. Okay. And that way you don't have to watch it with them. So if you're not going to watch it with them, which is not necessarily my mode, because that would kind of negate it. Then if I'm gonna sit there with them, I might as well give them a presentation. But if you're gonna send the video out, you have to create that value, and you have to create that follow-up appointment, because that follow-up appointment also creates positive pressure. Right? My prospect is going to start watching the video at 11:30, and she knows that I'm going to be calling her at 12:15. Plus the pre-work that I did up front to create the value for the video, she's going to watch the video, right? And what that did is it improved my results. This little process that I shared with you guys, it improved my watch rate. Right now, if I were to go and have this conversation with 10 people, I can tell you with confidence that if 10 people said to me, yes, I'll watch it, that of the 10, 7 will actually really watch it. I'm still going to have 3 that are going to scroll their Instagram, take a phone call, whatever, and that's fine, right? If my watch rate, my really watched it rate can be 70%, I'll take that all day long, right? And then now I put the numbers in my favor, right? So I know that if I talk to, X amount of people, this percent will watch the video, and if this percent that watch the video, this percent will actually respond when I call them for the follow-up call. I know I can go into it knowing everybody's not going to be, it's not going to pick up, right? Some folks are going to weed themselves out. They're going to watch the presentation. They're going to say, that's not for me. And they're going to be childish about it and not pick up the phone. Okay, no problem. You're just getting yourself out of my process, right? And so then my next point of where ratio appears is of the people that actually do show up for the follow-up call. Now, this is a great group. I know that if I got 10 people that actually watch the video and they take my follow-up call, I can tell you right now that 6 to 8 of those people are going to join my business at some level. They're either going to become a customer or they're going to get in. And that's just because I've worked on every step of that process, and that's what we're trying to help you to do, to perfect every step of that process, to just know, what what's supposed to happen at each, at each interaction. Does that sound good, everybody? So you improve this step by step. The first step is you have to improve the conversation, work on the conversation where you get a person to agree to watch your video. Okay. So we have about 15 minutes or so left. Does anybody want to role play that conversation? Who wants to role play that conversation? All right, Dorcas, you moved. So that makes it you. Dorcas, you moved. That makes it you. Okay. Now, Dorcas, you need a counterpart. So Dorcas, you're the one with the video. Okay.
Okay.
Right. And your goal is to get Deanna Williams, who's about to come off of mute. She's your prospect. And your goal is to get her to agree to watch the video and the follow-up call.
Okay, quick question.
Yes,
Have we had a prior conversation or is this cold?
Let me tee it up for you. You have had a prior conversation. You ladies met at a brunch on Sunday, right? Let's assume that today is now Monday. It's your follow-up call. You were at brunch with your girls. She was at brunch with her girls. Y'all just happened to meet at the bar or whatever and have a quick conversation. And while maybe y'all with the two early ones waiting for everybody else. So y'all had a chance to talk. Okay. And in talking, you found out that Deanna is a healthcare professional in the field of anesthesia. She does well, but she wants her freedom. And you resisted the urge to go down the rabbit hole because you knew you were in the brunch setting and your objective was do what?
Get a number and be friendly.
Get a phone number. So you did that. Now it's Monday and go.
Hi, Deanna. We met on Sunday at a brunch. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Dorcas. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, and it's good to see you. We spoke, and I believe you were telling me something about your background, that you are a healthcare professional, and you were looking to have a little time freedom and to get into some of the things you wanted to do. Is that right?
Yes, that is. You're absolutely correct.
Okay,
So one second,
Yeah.
Dorcas, I need you to be more natural. You almost sound like you're on a script. So if you could just be more natural.
Okay.
And since Jackie interrupted you, one of my first thoughts was, you know how this conversation starts? How was your brunch? Right? How was your
okay, I get it. Personal level.
What did you get? I got I had the eggs Benedict. That part.
Okay. Make it more personal, more natural.
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right. Take two. Hi, Deanna. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are. How are you?
All right. How you doing? I saw you at the brunch. Did you have a good time there?
I had a great time. The food was absolutely phenomenal. How about yourself?
I did too. I enjoyed the eggs Benedict. Okay. What did you have?
I had chicken and waffles.
I should have had waffles. The sweets would have been great. I think we talked about a few things. I had my friends, my girls, you had yours. And why exactly did you guys come out for the brunch?
Well, we was just celebrating one of our colleagues. They were getting ready to leave the organization. So we was just going to celebrate before she left.
Okay, so like a retirement?
Not actually a retirement, but just a move, a lateral move.
Okay. I love it when people can move up and make a little more money and a reason to celebrate, okay?
One day that's gonna be me.
Awesome, awesome. Well, my girls and I were just hanging out, and I'm glad we connected. But you were talking about a few things about, what you would do if you had some free time. Um, and I think we talked about a few things about, having free time. If I had free time, I know I like to travel and I would like to um do different things. But what would you like to do in your free time?
I also would love to travel. I would love to start my own business, be my own boss. Tired of listening to these people telling me what to do and when to do it. So, and I'm close to retirement, so I'm trying to prepare myself also, you know, so I can have the lifestyle that I've built over the years.
Awesome. So, um, I actually know of some people that have helped others to start a business. I've had, one person in particular started his own business and he helped people to make money like $750,000 or more
Girl,
along their path. So, um, would you like to hear of or have a conversation um, about people who actually could help you start a business or point you in the right direction?
yeah, but what is this business about?
Well, that's something they would talk about if I shared a video with you, but I'm not sure that that particular video will be something that you would qualify for, but it will give you all the details. It will give you ideas, point you in directions as to, you know, let's say choices about how you could acquire more freedom, make a little money on the side, etc.
I would like to hear about that, but why wouldn't I qualify?
Well, it depends on choices. And not everyone, um, shall we say, can have time. Um, or maybe you may not resonate with the information. Okay, we're going to stop right here. See, great.
Well,
How?
I'm all right. Oh, wait. You know what? You know what? I like that. What I love most, you said, okay, help me. I'm in the quagmire. Help me, help, right? All right. So this is good. And I'm laughing because Deanna is a quintessential New Yorker. Right. And so I saw you getting yourself into trouble. And I'm like, and that's why I started to giggle. So here's where you kind of slid down a slope a little bit. You never put on the mantle. Okay. So you were in friendly mode, but you never took on that authoritative mode. Okay. So friendly mode sounds just like you did. Hey, why were you there? Oh, you guys were celebrating that. What did you have? Oh, you had chicken and waffles. I had the eggs Benedict. Okay. Hey, now, you know what? Real quick. Everybody write down those two words.
Real quick.
Real quick. It's an incredible, and I'm telling you guys, I learned this from Holton, right? It's like a psychological trigger, right? And by the way, Dorcas, definitely, like Mary just said in the chat, great effort. Loved you out there. We can listen to you all day. You're just so calming and smooth, right? And so genuine. So what I want you to do though is what I'm going to teach you now is how to shift another gear. And has anybody ever been in a car with a manual transmission where someone's got to shift gears? And even when the person's a pro, when they shift the gear, what happens physically? What does that feel like physically? They shift gears, they go from first to second, they go from second to third.
It speeds up.
I see it. So she said it's a jerk, right? Aniko said there's a jolt. You just like, right? Even if the person is smooth, you still feel it just a little bit and it says, okay, we're doing something different now. We're going faster now, whatever. So real quick is a conversation shifter. Basically, it says we're getting off this pancake shit and we're now
Off the waffles.
okay. So it's
Swear jar.
say again.
Swear jar.
Swear jar, definitely swear jar, right? So so Deanna, hey, you know, well, great. I'm glad you enjoyed that. But listen, real quick.
Okay.
The reason I'm calling you is I thought about what you said. You know, when we met briefly, you know, I complimented you on how you were dressed in your braids and whatever. We ended up starting to talk. And you mentioned that as a healthcare professional, even though you do well, you said you could be doing better. You'd love to make more money and have some free time. Is that what you said?
Yes, that is. You remember absolutely correctly.
Okay, well, I gotta ask you this. When you said that, were you serious about that? Or is that just something that you just say to people because you think it's a nice thing to say?
I was definitely serious.
Okay. I thought you were serious, right? Because I picked up on that New York accent and you guys tend to say exactly what you mean, right? Okay. Well, listen, I want to share something with you. I'm not sure you qualify for it, but I'm gonna share it with you anyway. I've had the privilege of working with a group that's being led by a gentleman who's been very, very successful. This guy, you know, he built a business that spanned basically worldwide. And even though it was an entrepreneurial business, he even got his personal income up over $1 million a month. That could buy some freedom, don't you think?
Wow. Heck yeah.
But the better part of that is the number of people that he has helped to achieve similar results. Okay, which is pretty insane. And this is why I said you might not qualify, because obviously in order to be one of those people, there's some things that you need to learn and some things you need to do. And, you know, we'll find out what kind of learner and what kind of doer you might be. But if I could make the information about this particular opportunity available to you, and it might result in more money and it might result in more time, is it the kind of thing that you could make it a priority to give it a professional look?
Absolutely.
Now, it's going to take you about 30 minutes. And in today's world, you know, people's attention spans, Jackie, this one's for you. In today's world, people's attention spans have gotten really short, you know, watching the short videos and stuff like that. So when I say give it a professional look, it means can you focus for 30 minutes so that you don't miss anything? Take notes, write down your questions, write down your comments, write down your thoughts, and then we compare notes about it afterwards.
Yes, we can do that.
Dorcas, did you see how I shifted tone from, hey, let's talk about pancakes and girly stuff, to, hey, okay, I'm calling you because we got this business, right? I have the business. You can see there's roles that have shaped up here real quick and subliminally, right? Without saying it, it just happened that I've got the ball, you don't. Do you want to look at this ball? Did y'all see that materialize? Did y'all see how the dynamic shifted in the conversation, right? And it's not arrogant, it's not mean, it's, hey, I don't know if you qualify for this, but I'm gonna let you look at it if you're willing to make it a priority and give it a professional look. And she said yes. So Deanna, what I mean by a professional look though is, you know, like I said, you gotta like focus down, and I think I said that part already, right? And so you've already agreed to that. Now the next thing that I do is I'm getting a time. And this is all for them. This is all for them, right? So cool, perfect. I'm glad, you know, I'm glad you're gonna take a look at that. When do you think you might do it?
Just give me a second. I want to look and see when I got some free time. I'm available tomorrow at 4 o'clock, if that's okay with you.
Okay, that's good. That's very specific. I love New Yorkers. Y'all don't play. All right, good. And that's actually a very good sign because those are the kind of people that, tend to do well. So, okay, so tomorrow, 4 p.m., that's when you're going to give you're going to lock it down, right? You get kids, significant other, everybody get them away. 30 minutes focus time. If you do that at 4, and if you start at 4 and it takes 30 minutes, if I call you at 4:45, you'll be done, right?
Absolutely.
All right, put me down for 4:45 in that calendar while you have it out.
Okay.
And that's when you and I can circle back and compare notes on this. All right. By the way, how many of you guys notice I keep saying compare notes instead of find out what you think? All right, compare notes. Let's compare notes. Right.
So you don't ask like for any questions or concerns that you may have?
Oh, I'm teeing up that appointment.
Oh,
And I don't want to also don't want to seed the market that you might have concerns. I try not to say that. It comes out sometimes. But I like to say compare notes because everything could be incredibly positive. They could have no questions. They could have no concerns. They could say, sign me up. Right. So I want to put that in the universe too. But it's likely that they're going to have some questions and concerns. If they do, that's just going to happen. Okay. But you guys see this process, and I never deviate from this process. I never shorten it. I get them to say yes at least 3 times. And you know how you say yes? If I can make this available to you, would you make it a priority to give it a professional look? Yes, that's number 1. Okay. By professional, and let me share with you what I mean by professional look. I mean getting rid of the distractions, buckling down for 30 minutes, take some notes, write down any questions, concerns, comments, thoughts, whatever, and we're going to meet afterwards to go over it. Can you do that? Yes, that's number 2. Great. What time do you think? Sorry, not what time. When do you think you can do this? When do you think you can make it a priority to watch this video? Okay, I think I can do that today. I could do it tomorrow. I think I can do it on Monday. Great, fantastic. That's 3, by the way. Right? The fact that they're saying I could do it on this date is a yes. Great. Okay, well then Sunday afternoon it is. What time do you think you can do it on Sunday afternoon? Well, after I put the kids to bed, it's 8 p.m. Okay, great. That's 4 yeses. The fact that they gave me a time is the 4th. And then if I say on top of that, if you're going to start then, and I pick a time 45 minutes later, I say that's when you'll be finished. We can catch up. Then put me in your calendar. If they do that, that's 5 yeses. Okay, you can have my video now. After 5 yeses, the likelihood this person has convinced themselves through this process that this is important and I need to pay attention to it. Now, even with that, Stein, 3 out of 10 for me are not going to watch it. But how many of you think 7 out of 10 that say yes is a pretty damn good ratio? Right? So it's worth putting the energy into prepping this. How's that doing for you, Dorcas?
Doing great. Thank you.
So when you shift those gears to that part of the conversation, what I want you to work on is creating, I should feel that you've shifted gears. It shouldn't be dramatic. It shouldn't be like, oh, but slightly better than subconsciously, I should feel that this conversation has changed and that you have something that I want. Okay?
Okay.
So play with that and let's revisit that. That's gonna be fun. Is this good for everybody?
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. Well, guess what, folks? That's our hour.
I have a quick question on that.
Yes,
that
Dave. What's the question? What's the question?
When someone asks, "Who's that person?" What's that person's name?
Oh, that's fantastic.
To get out of that, how to get out of that?
Well, it's not so much I get out of it. It's just that I just stay in control, right? And so I would say something like, Oh, that's good. You know what? I love that you're asking that question. It tells me exactly how interested you are. Fantastic. Okay, I'll tell you what. Every question, that question, and every other question that you have is answered in that 30-minute video. Now, do you understand why I said you need to make it a priority to watch it and to give it a professional look, Danny? Exactly. Because those are the type of things that are covered in there. I want to let this thing do the work and then let you and I circle back afterwards. And I promise I'll answer every single question that you have. Does that sound good? Does that sound fair? Is it fair exchange?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
I got a question, T-Ray.
So, perfect, Deanna, I'll be right there. So I'm not getting out of it. I'm just not going to let you sucker me into giving a presentation one question at a time. Because the minute I start answering questions, I'm now giving a presentation. And if my goal here is to not give a presentation, then I can't let you change that for me. Does that make sense? So that's my mindset.
Thank you, sir.
No, my pleasure, Danny. All right, Deanna.
Yeah, some of the things I've noticed, people are always wanting to know the name of the company.
No, I don't have an
And what I've witnessed is that the minute I tell them the name of the company, they're on their phone looking it up.
Yep.
And, you know, I've also had someone that came to a presentation that called me back. Well, I called her to find out, you know, her feedback. What did she get out of it? Was she interested? And she just politely told me because of some of the stuff that she's read, she don't feel comfortable. You know, and those are the things that I am coming up on, and it kind of stunts me a little bit because I kind of sort of don't know how to answer it, and I try to answer it very politely, but at the end of the day, you know, it's not just a one-time thing. I've had like 3 people to the point where I didn't even want to say the business name. I just came and said like Elevate or something like that because it's like I get a punch before I even go forward. I get a punch back.
No.
Can I answer that for her before you answer, T. Greg?
Yes, ma'am.
So, because I personally gave Deanna her presentation when she signed up. So one of the things that you can say, Deanna, you can say, because of the fact that you got started, you can say, well, you know what, I understand you went through your research, you found some things that you wasn't satisfied with. Well, when I first looked at the presentation, I didn't go look at anything. I just immediately got started and I started making a lot of money. Then I was told about some things out there on the internet. I'm so glad I didn't listen to them because I found out for myself the money I have made is just unbelievable. And if I would have listened to them, I would have missed my opportunity.
Yes, but just to say something behind that, I actually showed someone the money that I made, right? I mean, so that's what got them interested in the first place. And I didn't know they did research because they came to the presentation and I was just doing a follow-up. And it just like hit me just like that. And it was like, okay, I had to think fast on my feet, you know, I had to understand what she was saying and but kind of stumped me for a little bit, you know, because she was like, you know, I'm really interested, but as long as this is going on, I don't feel comfortable joining this company.
Gotcha.
Maybe when everything is cleared up, maybe I'll revisit. And that's the feedback that I got.
Well, that's no problem. Let me go with the first part. So every company that I've ever been in, the minute you say the name, guess what people do?
Google.
They go Google, right? And they will find something negative about every company in this industry. And the reason why is because of the human nature of people. What do people say when they fail in network marketing?
It was the company's fault. It was the leader's fault.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
So, right? that thing doesn't work. It's a scam, blah, blah, blah. You know, it doesn't work. And then they go into the details, like Jackie said, the company is this, my leader, this, whatever, blah, 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 right? When if you gave them the checklist assignment, what does the checklist assignment show you? The truth, right? If most people did their full-time job the way folks do their checklists, there'd be a lot more unemployed people, right? So they never take responsibility. So that's the first thing, Deanna. I never, no matter what company it is, I never give them the name, right? Now, the way my catchphrase to that is, I say, hey, listen. I suppose you said that to me. Well, Dan, what's the name? I said, Deanna, you know what? I love the level of interest. The fact that you're starting to ask me these questions, those are the right questions to ask. I always tell people, that's the right question to ask. But here's the most important thing. The most important thing is that you consume this information in a professional sitting, right? Not piecemeal, not something here, not something there. Just commit to the 30 minutes. You'll get company name, you'll get details, you'll get the business model, you'll get the revenue opportunity, you'll get all of that. And then we can rock and roll. All right. So right now I'm protecting you from yourself, because if I just give you company name, you're just going to Google it and you give yourself a piecemeal presentation. And most people are cool with that. Every once in a while, I've had to go a little bit further with the person. Well, no, listen, you ever been to grandma's house for Thanksgiving dinner? Okay, when you go to grandma's house for Thanksgiving dinner, have you ever gone in grandma's kitchen and started to pick food out of the different pots? What did grandma do? She slapped my hand. Exactly. You know why she slapped her hand? Because she has an entire presentation that she's going to make for Thanksgiving dinner. She wants to lay out the spread, and now you can have this, because she knows that if you go out here and you pick from this pan and you pick from that pan and you pick from this pan, well, then you know what? You're not going to have an appetite. So how about we do this the professional way? And you see this. Now, I've had maybe 1 or 2 people in 20 years that have said, well, if you don't tell me this, I'm not going to look at it. And you know what my response is?
It's
Well,
not.
do you think the Rockets are going to defeat the Pistons in Game 7? Because we might as well talk about basketball, because we're not talking about business anymore. Right? I just stay in control. Okay. So there's that. Okay. Well, now what if they do, okay, so they've seen the presentation and now they've gone and Googled and they found some things about, you found some people saying negativity about Ibüümerang. You guys found some people saying negativity about Elevate, which are tons of folks. There are tons of folks. Some of them, I've talked to them on their way out the door. I said, do me a favor. Be honest with yourself and the world. Don't say Ibüümerang didn't work. Make sure you let people know you didn't work. Because I'm a jerk like that sometimes. But in any event, I digress. Or they find some information, about HB or whatever. And I just say, hey, listen, I understand that, but that has not been my experience. I've come to know him personally. I've been in his presence. I know his heart, right? And so one thing I know personally is that he would never do anything to intentionally wrong anyone. And the second thing that I know is that has absolutely nothing to do with or Elevate. And Deanna, I would say, and I'm so glad that, I didn't see that or allow anybody to taint my experience, because I've learned so much that can never be taken away from me. And I've earned a lot of money in that process. And to just think that if I would have allowed something that I read or that somebody said to me to keep me from that, that would have cost me so much money right now. And none of those people would be willing to write me a check for the money that they cost me.
Okay.
So I would handle it that way. I wouldn't get defensive. I wouldn't get worried about it. Show me a CEO of a Fortune 500 company that hasn't been under fire. And I'll show you somebody, if they haven't been under fire, they're not the CEO of a Fortune 500 company. Elon Musk has his issues. People still driving their Teslas. Bezos still has all his issues. People still using Amazon.
Apple, Samsung.
Still using the phone, right? So at the end of the day, we can just we can go and do that all day. So in any event, that's how I would handle that. Okay. And we'll revisit that. We can continue to do work on that to help you guys, because Jackie, Darren, Tierre, Trey, Mark, we're all committed to helping you guys be incredibly successful, right? And you see that hasn't slowed HB down, not even a little bit. Right. All right, cool. Well, listen, we promised you guys an hour. It has now been an hour and 12 minutes, but keep in mind that that's your fault. Because right on the 0-0, when I said we're wrapping it up, what did they say, Jackie? I got questions, right? I got questions, and we want to honor you guys and answer your questions. But we're gonna keep doing this, because at the end of the day, we want you to be able to go and have some wins. And here's what I want you guys to do. As you have wins, please reach out to us. Let us know. We're looking for those wins. We want to highlight those on here on Saturdays as well. Does that sound good? All right, beautiful people. We'll see you next Saturday, but we'll see you in a few hours. Mark, can we drop that link one more time?
Yes.
We'll see you guys in a few hours. Fast track to 5K with Holton Bugs himself. I can tell you guys right now, he has got an incredible training planned for today. As I mentioned out at the outset, Mark and I have worked on his slides. So we see his content. I know what he's going to talk about today. And some of what we talked about today is going to be expanded upon with Mr. Bugs as well, because I know that's in his content. I hope you guys are there. I hope you guys are paying attention. And even better, don't just absorb all this information. Go try it. Go try it. Kia, I applaud you, man. That's what I'm talking about. Go out there and do it. And that way because if you don't do it, you can't improve it. You can't get better. Right? How does it go? I was going to say you're going to be bad before you're good. You're going to be good before you're great. You're going to be great before you're extraordinary. But you can't go from 0 to extraordinary. You gotta go through the Badlands. So I'm proud of you guys for sticking through it and for putting in the work. And there's a lot of you on here today. I'm so proud of each and every one of you guys. We love you. We're here for you. And we're going to keep doing this until you win. All right. By the way, let me just try to show you what no excuses looks like. Let me show you what no excuses looks like. Let me take off my background. So this is me in the DoubleTree Hotel, San Francisco Airport. I had to find a place where at 6 o'clock in the morning, I could do flight school and not disturb my wife and the people in the rooms next door to me. So I found last night before I went to bed, I came down here and I scouted out where my location could be. So they have a whole section where they have meeting rooms. And I'm like, well, there sure as hell ain't gonna be nobody meeting down here at 6 a.m. So this is where I am. All right. So no excuses. Don't be a person that any little thing that comes up can totally take you off your game and change you. You got to be a person who says, you know what? how can I win anyway? All right. And Mark and I have done this from hotels and hotel lobbies, and we've convinced people to let us use conference rooms, just all sorts of stuff. I've done it you know what? There's been times I've done this by a swimming pool, a rooftop swimming pool.
Yes.
And you guys
I
didn't
remember
know
that.
my background, right? So in any event, we love you guys. Have a great Saturday. See you on with Holton.